Hello everyone, in today's video, I'm going to talk about how to create online courses. Coming up. To create online courses, there are a few steps that you need to make sure you have in place before you actually launch it. Because if you do it the wrong way, you know what? No one's going to buy your course and it's going to be very, very frustrating. So let's take a look at our funnels to income system. Now, this is the system that I use to run my online business, and everything that I'm going to talk about here is in this actual system. Now, before I continue, I'd also like to say, if you want to learn how to create an online business, join the mailing list. I will send you a lot of tips, tutorials on how to get started, and I'll notify you via email as soon as I release new tutorials. So the link to that will be in the video description below. All right, so online courses. So this is on phase 3. So this is our stage of how to actually make the money. So these are the products. It's courses, affiliate marketing, coaching, consulting. Okay. So as I mentioned, today we're going to be talking about the courses. So first of all, before you get started, you need to have an idea of the course itself. And so without the idea, of course, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to come up with the course itself. Now, here's a very important part. Whatever idea that you have for your course needs to solve a problem. If it's not solving a problem, then, it's not going to be any good. So think about it this way. Your course is supposed to take the student from step A to step B. So you are providing or filling in the gaps between starting and finishing. So that's the problem solving we're trying to talk about here. So let's say, for example, you want to teach people how to bake a cake. So maybe like with myself, I'm starting from scratch, never baked a cake before. You should be able to take that student or me in a journey step by step in creating that cake. So this is how you're supposed to structure your courses and how you're supposed to provide a solution. Now, the second thing is you need to also survey your audience before you create the course. Now, you may be asking, oh, well, Mac, how do I survey my audience if I don't even have an audience? Well, that is the problem, because if we take a look here at our funnel to income system, you need to have some sort of an audience before you can start selling. So this is actually in order. So the idea is here, the phase 2 is here, and then phase 3. So most people want to start over here, create a course without an audience. So that is actually very, very difficult, because you need people to like and trust you before you sell them anything. You can't just come up and say, I'm selling this course. I mean, they've never heard of you, and they haven't even seen like some of your tutorials, or they haven't even got to know you. So this is why it's important to create this audience here. And in the previous video, I spoke about how to create a YouTube channel. So if you create quite a lot of videos here on YouTube and then take them to the next step and say, guys, I'm launching a course, it makes the selling of that course much easier because you have an audience to sell to. So this is why it's very important to have an audience here. And this is the audience that you also survey. And just to add to that, it's also very, very important to have a mailing list, because this is the list that you're going to launch to. Okay, so if you have 2 people here, one with a mailing list of, let's say, 10,000 people and another one with a mailing list of 0, and you pretty much have the same product, it's guaranteed that the guy or the person that has the mailing list is going to definitely sell, because you've built a mailing list and it's much easier to sell to people that know, like, and trust you. So that's why it's important to have this audience here. Now, moving on, your course now, you have to decide what style of teaching you're going to have. Is it going to be audio based? Is it going to be a PDF? Or is it going to be video? Now, in my opinion, video works best in most cases, because most people learn through watching or seeing things step by step as compared to reading. But there are cases where you want to teach in a way that people actually follow like a step-by-step process in a PDF format or a printed, document. So you have to decide which style you're going to use. Now, that also comes with the type of gear you're going to be using. Now, in the previous video when I spoke about starting a YouTube video, if you haven't watched that video, I'm going to link it in the video description below. So in the previous video, I spoke about the gear that you need for YouTube. Now, that's the same gear that you're going to need to create your course. So if you haven't watched that video, I'll link it in the video description below. So make sure you check it out first. So as I mentioned, the style is also important depending on what type of course it is. So if it's baking, surely you're going to need some sort of a PDF because you want to see the ingredients and when to apply them. And if it's web design, that's totally different. I mean, most people are going to learn from watching you click on the actual screen. Okay, so moving on. I know I touched on a little bit about this. The customers are going to come from your mailing list or from your audience. So you're not going to get cold customers. So just sending, emails out or just putting stuff on social media, it's not really going to sell your course. So you want to have an audience first. That's where your customers are going to come from. Okay, so moving on now, this part is very important. When I take a look at, or when I create my courses, I try to have my courses in a structure, and that structure is a step-by-step process. So if, let's say, for example, I'm teaching you how to build a website, I would actually teach you as if I'm actually building the website. So I'll start with registering the domain name, talk about the hosting, talk about what software you need, and then start creating all these pages step by step. So by the end, the idea is, the person that's taking my course is going to pretty much follow through and get the same results as I'm getting. So that is how I structure my course. Now let's move on and let's talk about software that you need. How do you host your videos? Now there's two ways of doing this. There's self-hosted and there's companies out there like Teachable and Thinkific, but I'm a control freak. I like having everything on my website. Now it has some drawbacks because you're going to need some sort of technical expertise to make sure things are running okay. And if you do have the time for that, then that's the way you want to go. And the system that I use, or the learning management system that I use, is called LearnDash. I'll link it in the video description below as well. And if you buy it using my affiliate link, you will get access to my LearnDash Mastery course, the course that teaches you how to set up an online course website step by step. So that's the bonus that comes with it. So once you've bought it, just let me know in the video description below that you've bought it, and then I'll give you access to that course. So pretty much this is the structure, or this is the way that you want to build your courses. So number one is the idea. You need to have an idea that solves a problem. Number two, you need to survey your followers or your audience. That's where your customers are going to come from. Number three, you also have to decide on the style of teaching that you're going to be doing. And like I said, it's going to depend on the type of course or the type of things that you're going to be teaching. Number four, customers. Customers come from your mailing list. So you make sure you start building your mailing list. You're going to need a blog in order for you to build your mailing list. And then moving on, the structure of the course should be a step-by-step process, taking the student from point A to point B. So it's very, very important that you are able to achieve that. You shouldn't be all over the place as you're working on this. And then finally, you're going to need some sort of way of hosting your courses, and there's two ways. There's a hosted solution, and there's also a solution where you can have everything on your own website. So for the hosted solution, you're going to need a service like Teachable or Thinkific, but if you're going to host it on your own website, you can use a plugin called LearnDash, and I have bonuses for that. All right, guys, that's all I have for you in today's video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.